It is I, the resident Godzilla grifter, apparently, and as an honorary member of the Grifter Powers and the leader of the Skippler Youth, I think it is my responsibility to once again return to this abusive relationship of mine. He promises he's different, he promises he'll change, but will he? That is the question. So right off the bat, Godzilla Minus Zero is apparently going to be darker, or at least that's the speculation given the title. Thematically, Minus One was all about World War II setting Japan to the state of zero, and the arrival of Godzilla made it go from zero to minus. How dark could you possibly get in a Godzilla movie? That ultimately depends on which route they want to go. The fact that they're calling it Minus Zero and not Minus Two kind of throws a wrench into that whole thing though, because it implies Japan went back to 1 and Godzilla's return sends it back to 0, so saying it'll be darker does not make a whole lot of sense. It could still work if the darkness of the tone is unrelated with how much Godzilla is actively causing destruction and more so how he affects Shikishima personally, but so far that's the reasoning I've been seeing people use to justify the title. Now I'm not saying that it couldn't work, I'm just saying that the reasoning I've been hearing for the title is not very good. A lot can change in a year, so maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. One thing the film would have to also consider is Noriko and just how the hell she survived, because there is no way in God's green earth that she can just survive a nuclear blast. There isn't a single explanation out there that I have seen that can properly explain how she was able to survive. I've seen people try and justify this by using the mutation thanks to the marks on her neck as a justification, but keep in mind, she would need to survive this in order for this to happen. Her entire body would still need to be in one piece. And after this, no. There's no way. No, you're lying. And apparently Takashi Yamazaki really likes Godzilla vs. Hedorah. This film is considered controversial because of certain elements in it that people seem to misunderstand or think is weird. But I think there's a deeper, more fundamental problem with Godzilla vs. Hedorah that I don't think enough people are talking about, but then again, I don't really like interacting with the fanbase, so this is just me spitballing here. Hedorah is thematically contradictory. A long time ago, I used to think Hedorah was actually created by pollution from Earth, but then I learned that he's actually an alien that descended to the Earth to consume our pollution, and not just consume it, but produce it as well. Basically the idea of evil eating its own vomit and then puking it back out at the world's expense. If you want to have a pollution message, please, for the love of God, don't make the monster that's supposed to represent pollution an alien, because then the message becomes, stop polluting or else external entities outside your control are going to use your pollution for sustenance and also to kill people. Especially when you want to make him fight a monster that's supposed to represent the dangers of nuclear weapons, because then the message becomes, if you don't stop polluting, we will nuke your pollution.
Don't you feel silly? Don't you feel stupid?
Now, how does this relate to Minus Zero? Well, if Hedorah is supposed to be in this movie, how are you going to weave him into the plot? Like, genuinely. Like, he didn't work the first time, and how are you going to make him work now? Like, come on, think about it. You would have to completely rework him thematically to the point where he's no longer Hedorah anymore. That, I think, would be the right call, but I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't think you think they're going to do that. Another theory that people propose as to who the next monster will be is Mothra. Now, just why in the hell would Mothra ever show up in this universe? Most importantly, what does she even do? Granted, I have not seen the solo Mothra films. All my knowledge from Mothra comes from Godzilla exclusively. However, the many times I have seen her in the movies, she has just been this vague character. She is quantitatively a character because she is an entity that affects the plot, the story, etc. But she's not qualitatively a character. She alludes to vague notions of goodness and the preservation of life with nothing else to say beyond that. Potentially in external materials and in the solo films it is expanded. Not that I would know because I only focus on the mainline universe of Godzilla because he's the monster I really care about. So I am open to being corrected in that front if anybody wants to correct me. And by anyone I mean anyone that knows what they're talking about, obviously, but I have never really understood what Mothra's point really is. So her being in the sequel would require some rework or some deepening of what she already represents, or some form of expansion, or whatever you want to call it. Finally, Anguirus. Anguirus is in a worse position than Mothra. I don't know why he exists. And if there is a reason, is the reason justified? Because the many times I've seen Anguirus, he's just been there. He's just there. I hated raids again, by the way. Not just on a technical level because of the lazy craftsmanship, because if they wanted to make a sequel, they could have spent more time making sure things worked properly and making sure that they had everything that they needed instead of doing what they did, which was just... But also the plot is just very... Ugh. Most of my issues revolve around Anguirus because he just exists. Like, he's just kind of there. So they would have to make something up for Anguirus too if they want him to be involved in the movie at some capacity. But more than anything, I am scared out of my mind. Because if Toho repeats the same mistake as with the Showa era, then it will truly be over. Part of me wishes that were the case, because then, if people inevitably end up hating it, they're gonna go, oh, we hate this timeline, but wait a minute, why aren't we treating the Showa timeline this way? And that would cause a lot of revisionism. And I mean revisionism in the sense of people going, things were not as good as I thought they were. But that could also run the risk of people just completely ignoring any of the issues that are present, or just accepting it as they will accept literally anything. And I think that stems from a very real case of Stockholm Syndrome, or the syndrome of the missing parent. Because you would think the 2004 to 2014 drought is like the Great Depression or something with how seriously they talk about it. And so they feel the need to have this unwavering gratitude when they're being fed dog slop. If it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. But if it does, then I am on my hands and knees begging you to understand it's not that serious. Arkham Batman fans have been waiting for a new game for years, and they finally got it in the form of Arkham Shadow. And apparently it's really good. The only difference is that Arkham Shadow came right before the 10-year anniversary of the release of Arkham Knight. The Arkham games are the best comparison I can come up with how long it took for fans to wait for another piece of content. But the only difference between Godzilla and Arkham is that Arkham games are almost consistently good. Now back to Big Lizard. I am begging Toho to not mess this up. I am on my hands and knees begging Toho and Takashi Yamazaki, please do not mess this up. Expand on why America did not help Japan. Provide an explanation for Noriko surviving. And not just any explanation, a good explanation. That's very important. Keep your writing internally consistent and keep it as character focused as last time, and you will create a perfect sequel. Raise the stakes believably. And for the love of God, please fix the animation cycle and the proportions and Godzilla's behavior. Double down on what he is. There is a lot of improvement that needs to be done even for a film that I would consider great. So please do not mess this up. But really that's all I wanted to say in regards to Minus Zero. As for Supernova, I have absolutely nothing to say that I have not said already. The film is going to suck, and I think people need to accept that. There is no way that one director in one movie can fix every single world-breaking issue, every single plot hole in just one movie. I Am Mother may be good, but just because that movie was good does not mean Grant Spatore is equipped to handle all of this. That would be like putting Sam Raimi in charge of a Doctor Strange movie. We all know how that turned out.
Your children aren't real. You created them using magic.
That's what every mother does.
God, but you're an imbecile.
The Sam Raimi trilogy was great. Multiverse of Madness was not. I paid money to go see that movie, so I resent it. A lot, actually. One good director is not going to fix years of plot holes, contrivances, and world breaking. GVK was the time to hire Grant Spatore, but instead, they hired Adam Wingard, and look how that turned out. So I have nothing to say in regards to Supernova. It's going to be bad, and I think people need to accept that. As for Minus Zero, I don't know that it's going to be bad, but I don't know that it's going to be good. And that uncertainty scares me a little bit. I have my doubts, I have my hopes, but let us just pray pray that this movie is better than the last one, because the last one was already good, but it had its problems. But this one has an opportunity to be truly one of the greats. Not just a great genre movie, but a great movie, period. So yeah, that was it. Those were my thoughts. Thanks for sticking by to listen to me ramble. And I don't know how to end this video.
I thought we were going to release them gradually, one at a time.
No, I killed a bunch of people. How could this happen? Woe is me. I am become Chuck the Sneeder of Feed.